Hey, my Shuga Bears, welcome back to my channel, Bougie AF. It's your host, Nicole. It's where I say stay bougie on them. It's me feeding you feminism for the soul. It's my soul food offering. It's where I apply pressure to issues by being critical and logical. Now, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Now, let's get to the commentary, where I can guarantee you I will be doing too much, because that's just me. And like Sheree said, who's gonna check me, boo? Welcome back, y'all. You are tuned in to the Bougie AF channel, where I say stay bougie on them, and I'm serving you feminism for the soul. You can check me on them people's Instagram at bougieaf_ish. You can also check me out on Twitter at I'm_bougie_AF. So where I go to hide all of my secrets where nobody can see them on the World Wide Web. Oh my God. I think that is so hilarious that anybody could ever think that I think that whatever I'm saying online could not be seen. Like, that's just really weird to me. But I think that's the same thought process people have in terms of thinking that somebody's keeping their secrets when they press play, press record, and press send, and all of those things to record themselves doing shit. Like, it's just really weird. I'm not under that type of delusion. I'm quite aware of what I'm saying. I'm quite aware of what people do know by what I do put out, and I have to take responsibility of that because I'm a big girl, and that's what big girls do. In times I'd be like, well, fuck it, I don't know what to tell you. That was just me at the time. It just is what it fucking is. Did I hurt somebody? Like, that's literally what I be trying to figure out. Did I hurt somebody when I went off and cursed and sweared and all this other stuff? Did I hurt somebody? Did somebody hurt? That's the only thing I really be giving a fuck about. All right, so look, it's nasty business we're gonna get to in this video, but before we get there, we're gonna do like part 2 of me talking about Black Lives Matter, Candace Owens, to be continued. Right, we're gonna do this second part of her pulling up on Patrice Kente cloth colors. Patrice get money colors. We gonna get to it though. But listen, I wanted to start off by talking about just an experience that I recently just had on Clubhouse. Now this is, I know you're like, I have a pet peeve, and I have, like, there's very few things that I feel like, of course, if you personally do something, and I feel like that's going to take me into a different state of mind. I'm going to be angry. I'm going to be any of those things, but not necessarily like the things that I kind of talk about a lot of times. Not all of them. Now, crimes against women, yes, most definitely. Crimes against children, most definitely. And I think with adding to that, I don't take kindly to people who play on people with disabilities, who manipulate people with like disabilities, like any type of like mental, physical disabilities. Like, if you are in somebody's life and you are perceived to be the normal human being with full capacity, mental capacity, is thought to, it's assumed that you have full mental capacity, full physical capacity to like control your body and all that other stuff. I do not take kindly to people manipulating people with disabilities and taking advantage of people with disabilities, right? And this kind of hits home with me a little bit, and I'm gonna interject it the way that I do when I talk my shit about the people in my life that may have done something to me. Yes, I do that. I'm quite aware of it. I'm not in any type of just like unable to control the things that come out of my mouth, and that when I say them, it triggers me to some emotional state. Not that person, right? I literally have full control of, like, when I do mention things, and I'm quite aware of it, right? All right, so with that being said, I have a problem with people who take advantage of people with disabilities, right? And it's so bad that sitting on Clubhouse and seeing how people know that they are the smarter, clever, and they are the person who doesn't have any type of disability. And it doesn't have to be something as extreme of someone having like Down syndrome. I did, growing up in school, I used to do Gym Buddies, which was a program where we used to, you had to do community service to graduate. So every Wednesday night, and even after I had completed my hours to graduate, right? Because I didn't need additional Gym Buddies hours. I mean, I didn't need additional hours in terms of like volunteering to graduate. I actually had finished by, I think junior year or mid or early senior year. So, but I continued to do Gym Buddies because it was something I had been doing for like 4 years, like, and I even think did I do it in 8th grade? I'm not sure. But it was something that I had been doing for a very long time. So I had continued throughout high school, and it was something that I really enjoyed. All right. Maybe I'll tell you one day about the dude from Gym Buddies, the kid with the disability who was stalking me a little bit. Like it was a little scary. It's a little scary when they get fixated on you or they get thoughts in their head. It's just like how they get there. A little scary. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm never gonna lie to you about that. That shit's scary. It's intense. It's extreme on real. It's extreme, right? I say that because I've had this experience. All right, so but I do, like I said, I do have a problem with people taking advantage of people who are a little bit, that have those disabilities. And I remember in high school, there was a dude that I was talking to. Now that I remember, oh my God, that's so funny. This is coming to me. There was a dude that I was actually talking to, kicking it, fucking whatever. I was talking to back in high school, and he used to do this thing where the same kid with disability, I feel like he kind of manipulated him in the sense of, because everybody knew the boy liked me. But the dude who I was actually kicking it with, he actually kind of would like use the dude to like kind of harass me because he thought it was funny. Like, so he would just like make it seem like I do like him, or like he would tell him, oh, go mess with her or go play with her, whatever, whatever, whatever. So to me, like, I remember getting really pissed off because like you really like giving this dude like some type of weird ass impression that I could possibly be attracted when you know I'm messing with you. So really, people are really sick in their heads like that. With that being said, I'm on Clubhouse the other day, and one of the things that I realized early on, people do a lot of shit for attention. And when you don't get attention, you will act out in a certain way that makes you a mark, makes you somebody that people know that they could use for their benefits, if that makes sense, because you do have a limited capacity in terms of understanding mentally. And I don't mean mentally like bad mental health, I mean like comprehension. You may be a little slower to realize things, and I don't know the correct words in what I'm trying to say. Maybe I'm talking about cognitiveness. Yours may be a little delayed. So I'm quite aware of, and I think people know when they run across these people. There's just no way in hell that you could ever convince me any otherwise. Like, people know. I know when I run across somebody like this, right? I know men who will date women who come across like this because they're easier to manipulate. They're easier to plant seeds. They intensely fall in love, right? They just do. So I know a lot of men who will seek women out like this. I know a lot of women, and you see it in society because you'll see men try to gravitate or keep around them a certain type of female. And a lot of times it's a comfortability thing of she's not that smart, she's not that confident, she's not going to speak up or do anything to kind of embarrass me because for her in this relationship, he is the leader, he's the thinker, he's all of that. And a lot of men do like that. That's the reason why they date younger girls a lot of time. And that's not to say that younger girls are slower or anything like that, but they are less experienced, so they are going to speak up the least amount, right? All right. So I remember being in high school and having this experience with this person with disabilities, right? And so I remember, my ex, he would take advantage of him in this type of way. And so I was already cognizant of, like, people really do sick shit like this. I also read Mice of Men, in one of my favorite books, that do talk about a gentleman that had a disability, more lines in terms of like Down syndrome. And what ended up happening, this gentleman didn't know his strength, and he ended up killing this girl, and his best friend ended up having to kill him because what led to him killing this girl was that, I think if I remember correctly, he would always like choke cats and shit like that. And so he'd always been telling him, stop it. People are going to start talking about you. Going to think something's wrong with you. But he could never get his friend to stop killing the cats, or usually the cats or dogs or something. He couldn't stop him from, or bunnies or some shit. So, and the best friend didn't wanted him to stop because he understood that, people are not going to be kind or be considerate of the fact that you have this disability or even give a fuck in terms of like, depending on what you do, right? Anyway, so all of this in my mind, I've always been cognizant of, people with disabilities, cognizant of people and how they use people with disabilities. I'm trying to just give you examples of times I've seen this happen. My brother had a best friend growing up, and rest in peace to Kima. His name was Kima J. Braxton. I like to say people's name. I think it's important to say people's name who's been senselessly murdered. We tend to not say their names because as if though we're trying to hide something about like what happens. I'm not that person. So Kima was killed when my brother is about 7 to 8 years old. I was probably in middle school, maybe even elementary school still, but I was really young. No, I think I was in elementary school. But Kima was killed, and Kima was killed at a house party. And from what I remember, the Kima was killed by this gentleman, and this gentleman was like the character from A Mice of Men. This gentleman was like Lenny in a sense. Where is I can't hear myself. Hold on 1 second. I cannot hear myself. Hello, hello, hello. All right, so I know it's still recording. All right, so this character, this gentleman who killed my brother's best friend back in the day, he was a lot like Lenny, right? He was that crazy nigga from the hood. People would keep him on a team because you could easily manipulate him. You can easily send him on a crash dummy mission, right? Like some people keep people around them like that they know that it can wind them up and get them to do whatever they want them to do. A lot of like what you see in terms of like when people talk about like narcissists and how they use like their flying monkeys to do their bidding for them in terms of like whatever, because they could just manipulate them either emotionally or just find some way to make people feel sorry for them, that they want to protect them in some type of weird type of, oh, they are the vulnerable one in situations. And a lot of times we know with narcissists that they really aren't the vulnerable ones. They aren't they are the villain in the situation. For a lot of people, they can't see through that, right? Because they can't see through the manipulation. So I'm telling you about the boy who killed Kima. So he killed my brother's best friend. He stabbed him, and originally that beef was between my brother and, from what I believe, between my brother and another gentleman. And the gentleman who the actual beef that my brother had the friend that was like a Lenny. And so when my brother's best friend went to a house party, when he didn't wait for my brother, he went to a house party. That's when they seen him, and I'm gonna just call him Lenny for the sake of telling the story. Lenny ended up stabbing him and killing him, right? Okay, that happened. I say that to say, because remember I described and made sure that I tell y'all that Lenny is that type that's like a crash dummy, right? And so you can mentally amp him up to do some shit and he not really think about like the consequences, or really think about like how it will affect him in the long run, right? All right. So with that said, Lenny goes to jail for Lenny goes to jail for killing my brother's best friend Keeman. Now, I think he does his time, and I think he does more than 10 years. He does more than 10 years. Like, he does a lot. He did a lot of time. For me, if you think about I'm thinking about the age range of when he would have committed this crime. And this is where I think sometimes in the black community, I think we don't keep it honest, and we try to make it seem like that every young adult that commits a crime in terms of like being like 21 and under. That's my young adult age. I don't know what the fuck the rest of y'all talking about. Well, it's really 25 and younger, but okay, 21 and younger for a certain type of behaviors. You can see how somebody could be manipulated and still be kind of foolish and goofy. But anyway, so this gentleman most definitely killed Keema, and he was under 21. I think he probably did like 15 years. Like he did. I think he did like 10 years. He did 10 plus more years. I can say that he did. Anyway, he gets out of jail, and of course, he starts hanging out again with the wrong group of like people that could influence him. Long story short, this man who killed Lenny ends up killing 3 people again. He ends up killing a baby. He ends up killing 2 adults in a botched. I think they were trying to rob a stash house or something, some weird shit. If you're in Boston, you know what I'm talking about. Right off these people's Blue Hill Avenue. Because there was like a memorial out there for such a long time. But he ends up killing a baby. He killed the mother. He killed, I think, 2 other men that was in the home, right? I tell you all that to tell you, people take advantage of people with disabilities. People know exactly what they're doing. And if you find a crash dummy to do what you want, you are manipulating somebody with a disability, and you're like, okay, what does this have to do with Clubhouse? And I'm just telling you how sometimes in society how it shows up, and it shows up very it's not easy to spot. But the thing about voice chat, it's been really interesting to hear, because you can hear how people think, you can hear people's thought process, you can hear, whether or not someone does have a disability. And so what I do see a lot on Clubhouse is that a lot of people will want to be a part of a gang, clique, want to be down. You know what I'm saying? That's why I said in my Instagram video, I'm not a want to be down bitch. So there's a lot of people who want to be down. And with that being said, you can easily have people with like disabilities who socially are probably ostracized or socially separated in not being a cool kid, right? With that being said, they're always trying to find a way to be down and find a way to, feel accepted amongst a group of people. That's not rocket science. I mean, I think we young kids do it all the time. And like when you want to, I'm someone who's always been aware. I know when someone is trying to like be down and be around me, like because you know what I mean. Either they want shine or they just want to feel like they're a part of something, right? All right. So with that being said, all right, let me get back. Well, let me remember what I'm saying. So I'm on Clubhouse, and so I'm in a room, and there's this big thing where this white girl is being called out, right? And she's being called out because people are all of a sudden, we've been on this app for 2 years. They all of a sudden are noticing that they think she's some white nationalist, or she's like has had races or very undertones of just, I don't know, like white ignorance to things in terms of like the black community. I think that's a real thing. Like I don't care, like white ignorance is a real thing. It's sort of like white ignorance to me is tone deafness. It's like their version of it's their own, it's their tone deafness in terms of like talking about black issues, if that makes sense, right? Like they sometimes will make, let's say you're having a conversation about, poorness, and people barely needing to barely can eat, and someone interjects, and the first thing that comes out of their mouth is like, well, I just interjects in terms of like the conversation is like, why are people upset, or why are people angry? And somebody comes off mic, like a white person comes off mic, and it was like, well, I just think people need to just go out and experience life and travel more and just see what is out there, so they can really understand, it's not that bad, and put it in context to what to what really matters, and it could be worse. Or like, let's say somebody's rhetoric is that to in the conversation where you're kind of talking about like what you're experiencing and the hardships and all this other stuff, and that's their and actually this just happened the other day, but that actually is that really does happen in a lot of times in these conversations. With that being said, wait, let me get back. With that being said, tone deaf whiteness. Okay, so this week, this girl, she's been on the app, and she's always been like that, tone deaf in conversations. And so for me, I've always stayed away from it because I don't like when people will spend time around black people and be in black spaces. And this is what I noticed with her. She would spend time with black people around black spaces and hear how we talk, and hear how we talk about like things that we go through. But then when I listen to her on the white side, in white spaces and predominantly conservative spaces, you can see that none of the time that she spent on the side where she could be around black people was she kind of learning or adjusting any of her white ignorance in terms of being tone deaf in conversations. Because as soon as she got around white people in conservatives rooms, you would never think that she had any association with black people, or that we did not share anything in terms of like what our plight was and why things are what they are, right? And I feel like if you're going to stay that committed to your feelings, and not be open to receptive to any of the things that you hear when black people are talking, why do you come around? Like, why do you come around? So for me, and that's not to say that I've had any bad dealings with her, I'm just personally not going to kick it with you, because I'd rather you be in your conservative spaces and having your undertones of white ignorance, than feeling like as if though you come over here with us and chill and kick it like you get it, and then get over there and be in white ignorance. I'd rather just stay in white ignorance, and then let someone like me come over, and I guess we talk about your white ignorance. But don't play both sides in that way. Don't be in and out with it. It just seems very disingenuous, and like, what are you here for, right? Anyway, I guess this week, I guess niggas figured out that she was a double agent and she wasn't really for them because she started making titles. Now, the weird thing about Clubhouse, you never know what's real and what's fake, right? These people get together and they decide to have storylines, and they have no shame about using the things that happen in the community in terms of like the tropes or the things that we deal with socially in terms of like colorism. Like, right, one time, like, I called myself really trying to talk to a person online. I got involved. This is what I'm saying. I got involved in the stage play on Clubhouse. And it was around colorism and the ADOS bounty hunter going around thinking she should, call people out for their colorism. Long story short is that was all planned. Okay. Long story short, people get together and decide that I want to be a headliner on Clubhouse. No, nobody's getting paid for this, and I know some people like to say they get a little bit of change, but I mean, a little bit of change to sell your soul in certain ways. I mean, all money ain't good money, right? So with that being said, come to find out, this whole colorism thing that I had got myself involved with, and kind of started talking to two or maybe even three of the women on the app, that it was all stage, and they were willing, and people are willing to do that with real topics, real situations, real current issues, so that they can be a headliner. And what a headliner is the main person who gets, I guess, in this hierarchy and social circle that has been created. I'm going to say gang, cliquish gang behavior. A headliner is somebody who will get a lot of, I guess, attention on the stages because they're willing to do the most. You got to understand something. There's a lot of people who are taking a lot of, they feel like they accomplished something. Like, they take a lot of pride of being a headliner, but I absolutely understand, to be a headliner, you damn near have to offer up everything in terms of like your business. You have to be willing to be in community with people who will dox you, put your personal information out, talk about your child, talk about your mama, talk about your daddy, find out where your mama and your daddy work at, put all of that out there, right? Your tax information. Like, to be a headliner, you have to be willing to go here. Are y'all ready? Like, it's serious. And I want to make sure that I'm coming across and giving it the intensity of, because that's how it comes across. It comes across as if though it's like this Hunger Games of Clubhouse, to be down, I guess. Like, who can survive this week of doxing and pull-ups and your mother's information? Like, who can survive? Like, that's literally what it seems like you have to go through to be a headliner, because everybody's business gets put out there. It's like you put a marker on your back. But again, these people are very proud of it and willing to do a lot with that, to have that status. I'm saying all that to say, because I'm talking about somebody with a disability, right? I have not lost sight of that, right? So you have these people who are headliners, and so what ends up happening, you create this dynamic of people who are, I guess, irrelevant. And if somebody, she's a headliner, he is a headliner, and she was talking about people being irrelevant and people's opinions being irrelevant. Guys, I can't make this shit up. Like, this shit is hilarious. So, she irrelevant, right? Because you're in the audience and not willing to be a part of no foolishness and fuck shit and say dumb shit and just be dumb and be acting in weirdness. Anyway, so what ends up happening and what ends up being created is that you have a group of people, you have people in the audience who want to be headliners, who want to be relevant to these people, right? So what ends up happening is that you'll have somebody with like a disability, and you don't know until you hear them speak. So I'm in a room and this girl gets on stage and there's this guy, and I guess he's a headliner because he always makes rooms, and so people know him. So you automatically, I guess you are quote unquote the popular, whatever that means as adults, because I'm grown. Right? I'm grown. and when I say I'm grown, I'm saying I'm grown because I can't believe people have the urge or the desire to want to be a part of cliques and gangs and groupthink, right? And that's not to say that you don't need fellowship, you don't need community. I am not saying that. I am talking about being a part of a group and exhibiting group behavior that is consistent on you. Just like, to be in that group, you have to behave a certain way, right? To be in a gang, you have to be about gang shit. To be down with a clique, you got to be about this clique shit. Like, it just is what it is. So when I say I'm grown, it's because I'm saying I'm not trying to be like, I'm not trying to be like you. Like, I don't want to be down because I have to behave a certain way and do certain things that you do, right? I don't want to have to act like no, I'm grown. Like, it's just weird, right? I don't even like. I get so. The only reason I'm getting so frustrated right now because I was in a room the other day and this guy was like, "Yeah, I'm part of a few cliques, you know what I mean, on this app, through groups." And I said, "So what does that mean when you're grown? When you say you're a part of a few cliques? Like, I'm confused, right?" And then there was this woman in the comments, and she was like, I think I said, you mean like a gang or something, like being down? I said, because there's real gangs on Clubhouse. Like, there's real gangs. There's like real people who are in gangs. I've heard a black man, 50 something plus years old, yell out a gang. Like, it's just real. So I was like, what do you mean? Like, where's that desire to come on social media and be a part of like a clique, like a gang? I said, because that's real on here. And so this girl was in the comments and she was like, what is I'm grown mean when they're talking about gangs? Like, I'm grown. Like, I'm too grown to be on apps trying to be down with motherfuckers. So I'm going to exhibit it weird ass behavior. Yeah, that's what I meant. Like, I'm grown. What you confused about? People are weird. Let me get back to the disability girl. So I'm in a room with this dude. I guess he's a headliner. And so it ends up happening when you're a headliner, and the same thing that we see Whack 100 doing in terms of like when you have a little notoriety and you have a little name to yourself. People want to slide you information. People want to give you the tea. That is what ends up happening. People want to slide you information. People want to give you the tea. People want to tell you about somebody, right? So I'm in this room and this girl comes up, and of course this week we're talking about the white girl that everyone's acting like they didn't know was undertones and kind of racist, right? So so I guess this week she's getting exposed, but on top of that, there's another black gentleman who's also always had different storylines over the last 2 years that have been wild and crazy, from coming out as bisexual to like everything, like I mean everything, to sleeping with the white nationalists. Like, this shit get extreme. This shit gets a lot, right? So there's a group of people or white women that are on the app, and so I guess this week they decided to call them out and talk about them all and act like they didn't know who these people were in terms of like the content and things that they talk about. So I'm bringing this up because one of the white girls in the room that I'm in decides to come up on stage, and when she starts talking about one of the other, well, she starts talking about, I'm trying to think, was it the white nationalist girl? She starts talking about one of the white girls that was in the group that she used to be friends with until she fell out with. She then starts telling us and everybody on the stage of like the shit that this girl used to say in like their little social rooms or when they were like private, like shit, real ignorant shit. I guess these group of white women would say, nasty things about black people or black women or whatever. And so I'm sitting here listening. She then starts telling us how you can tell she has a disability because of how she speaks. And so she then starts telling us how when she got into the argument with the now white supremacist girl that's being exposed, when she got into an argument with her, when she got in an argument with the women that the white group, the white group of women that's being called out and exposed, when she got into an argument with them, I guess they were calling her slow, dumb, and all types of, very derogatory, like, and demeaning type of names behind her disability, right? They saying it all. And I remember sitting there listening because the one thing I think when people tell their stories is that they're always going to start off and try to tell you from a place of like what they receive in terms of like how they've been treated. They're going to start there. So I'm listening because on top of, her telling us what's going on, she's like, yeah, and I got screenshots and I got this and I got that and da 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 da. And I'm sitting there listening. One, I'm already turned off, right? Because I don't understand being friends with somebody that you got to collect information on. And that's really weird to me that you want to be associated with somebody that you have to watch like that. Because I don't think that's an indicator that makes you a good person. But I just wondered, like, what are you preparing for? Like, that's a little weird, right? But cool. She starts talking about, because you're only going to be preparing for something if you know you're doing something too. Like, if you know you doing something and you want to be prepared in case that person, finds out, or if that person, tries to do something to you, you be able to say, ha. Right? That's, I mean, like, it's real. That's real. That's the only reason why you would be in a friendship with somebody and be preparing like that, because you see some fuck shit, or you think some shit, or you doing some shit, and some shit's gonna come back and bite you. So she starts, she's telling us the stories, and she telling, oh, you want me to send this to you? And this is, to the headliner, you want me to send this to you? And I'm listening to how giddy this woman is to be involved in this fuck shit and be down with it, and how she's willing to send all this information and recordings and stuff like that. And I come off my mic because now I'm interested, because I don't like, I don't know, like, don't tell me about somebody and the way she's doing it, and by making it seem as though she's the victim in a situation because they're making fun of her disability. And so I said to her, I said, can I ask you something? When they were making fun of you and saying this stuff, what were you saying? And this is where the shit got really good. Oh, I was saying this and this and this and that. Oh, so y'all was slinging mud. Y'all were going back and forth. Y'all was talking shit to each other. She goes, yeah. I said, okay. I said, I just wish you would have started it off like that. Like, that's how I feel. I wish you would start, like, I wish people would start things off like that. I don't care if you have a disability and you going back and forth with me and you saying some shit out of your mouth. I'm going to say some shit out of my mouth. Like, what? Are we on Earth? Like, are we on Earth? Because if you think that I'm going to let somebody, I don't give a shit if your foot is turned inside out and you're walking with your hand up. If you're saying some crap to me, I'm going to say some fuck shit back to you. Like, I don't know. This is, I'm just keeping it real, right? And I don't like when people know that they have a disability, and this is the manipulation part, and it can come from somebody with a disability, right? I don't like when someone who has a disability will frame a story in a way that automatically makes them a victim. Nah, I can't get with that. I can't get with that. Especially if you know you participated in a certain type of way. Now, let me tell you about me personally in real life. I do have a situation with a friend that I do know that probably does have some disability issues in terms of cognitive, mental, and whatever, probably trauma. Like, I don't even want to guess. I know it exists in this person, right? With that being said, I also know that this person is so open to people and wanting to be down and wanting to be noticed and wanting attention, that I also knew that this person had what is that, what the right word, had a reputation within their family, from what they told me, of lying, right? And a lot of times when people just go out their way to continue to keep lying and making up stories, and that was straight from the grandmother's mouth, watch that person, because they make up shit, right? They dangerous, right? And this is, in black folks, this is how we talk. So when I know somebody has that type of they're set up that type of way, and I see other people able to see the same things I see in terms of someone having some type of disability sometimes, or even men really do know the type of women that they can take advantage of, because they may be like, have low self-esteem, or just have low self-esteem, just don't know their self-worth yet, right? Men know that. They can sniff that shit out. They're like hound dogs with that shit, right? So with knowing that, and this person having a disability, I know that people take advantage of people with disabilities. I know that people will use them, manipulate them, plant seeds in their heads to make them do what they want. Now, I tell you this about the girl from that I know and have my experience, because it's fucker. I don't give a fuck what the problem is before I came along, to be completely honest with you. But I just think that when you have a disability, and this person, I believe, in my personal life, I believe she knows she has a disability. I believe there was times like she would say, she got a devil on her shoulder that be talking to her. Like, she would say like a little weird shit like that. But you know how you like play people off because they be drinking too sometime, and like you just don't know what to think. Like, okay, girl, you drunk, shut up. But no, now like afterwards, you like, no, you knew you were not all there. Like, With that being said, I also had noticed that the things that she would do behind people's back was tell their business to like their boyfriends or their ex-boyfriends or people that they had problems with, right? I remember one time she had decided that she didn't like the version of the story that this girl, what is her? What are you gonna give her name? this girl who used to work security at this bar. Yeah, I'm gonna say that. Bar girl. Bar security. Yep, I'm gonna say that. So I remember she was getting this story about the bar security was telling her about her baby daddy. Now this is I'm not gonna go too far, because it's fucked them, and we got time to get to a lot of shit. But anyway, so bar security was telling my Lenny, right? Bar security was telling my Lenny about the situation that was going on with her first baby daddy, and how the nigga was a deadbeat, not claiming his child, like not claiming that child exists, right? So whatever happened, my Lenny felt like she didn't like that version of the story, and this is where people get deranged. People are deranged in their head mentally, and so she took it upon herself to insert herself to go get the actual what she felt like was truth, which means that she was gonna go see what the nigga had to say, and the other niggers, meaning men. She wanted to go see what the men had to say, and so for her, that's where the truth was. No matter whatever her friend told her, the truth for her is with the nigga, right? Male centered ass woman. If I act like or come across as if though I'm caring, I think she's a very what is it? Covert. Yeah, covert. Covert narcissist. If I'm able to come across like a guy's best friend, then I feel like I'm a part of something. Like she's able to get attention from men because she's willing to slide on her friends. She's willing to tell them about females. You get what I'm saying? And she'll be fucking on a nigga. You know what I'm saying? But she thinks she getting that positive attention because of just herself. And it's just like, no, baby, you getting that attention, you getting that space and opportunity because you willing to talk about somebody else to get that attention, to get that spot, to want what that other person or would be in that situation. You willing to be a grind ball. You get what I'm saying? And the reason why I'm telling you this, I'm talking about somebody with disabilities and people knowing that somebody is not all right, and people knowing that somebody can easily, manipulate them to do something, to benefit me, most definitely. So when I'm on Clubhouse and I see this girl and she comes off mic and she's so giddy to be involved and she's willing to, send this person all these clips and all this stuff about somebody she was cool with when they were talking the way she was talking. And I'm not saying that I agree with anything that probably these white girls were saying, but if you were willing to be a part of it, if you were willing to listen to, if you were down with it and you were cool with them until y'all fell out, I gotta think you cool with whatever was talked about. Am I wrong for thinking that way? I'm just confused because if I don't want to be a part of something and if I'm really against something, then I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna get up out of there. And I do it on Clubhouse all the time. There's some conversations I can't take. I can't be a part. Seem like sucker shit. I don't want to be no around that. Like that don't feel good to me. Like that goes against what I stand for. I'm gonna leave. And I do it all the time. So with that being said, don't tell me about what somebody else said because they were comfortable to tell you that. You were with that shit because there's something about whatever type of friendship y'all have, y'all relate in some type of fucking way. Y'all got something in common. Niggas ain't sitting talking to themselves. I'm confused. Why they feel so comfortable to talk to you? Right? So I don't know. I just think it's like really sickening, like in terms of like seeing how people will how desperate people are to want to be down with somebody. The extent that people want to go to be down with people. Like I actually really observed my Lenny willing to go against her own blood cousin, and fuck me being the play cousin that been around since before our parents been around each other before either one of us were born. Fuck that shit. Fuck that shit. They are willing to trade on people for attention, and they're willing to do the most. But a lot of times these are people with disabilities, and these are people who have been manipulated in terms of like being associated. And I think one time, if I remember my Lenny, she was like convinced herself like she was somebody's girlfriend, like, and her nigga was a pimp. Like, help me understand. Help me understand. They'll do a lot. I remember one time her cousin, was going to come through where we at with her new dude, but her old dude was where we were at. And I said to her, well, let her know so she don't come through, and jam her up. This raggedy bitch said to me, oh no, mind your business. I don't want him, you don't want him to get mad at you. So you mean you really can't tell your blood cousin that, oh, don't come through, some, old dude here? That's, I don't feel like that's getting involved. I don't feel like that's getting involved. But in anyway, like, but what loyalty you have to that nigga that you don't want to just drop your friend a note, drop your friend, look out for your friend a little bit, but you be out here willing to ride for a nigga, slide for a nigga. Help me understand, right? So we're talking about manipulation. Literally, we're literally talking about manipulation. I did a video that's going to be posted, and I'm talking about the Buffalo shooter Peyton, and how people get manipulated, and and you don't even gotta have a disability. I'm just saying you don't have to have a disability to get manipulated. But I do know that there are people who know that people have disabilities and they will play on that. Like even sitting in that room yesterday and listening to that girl be so giddy to want to give this man all this information, and it's just like, damn, that's how that look, to want to be down. That's what I gotta do to be down. I don't want to be down that bad. All right, so I'm gonna keep this one short and simple, but just look. I don't know what I'm gonna label this one, or maybe let me see if there's anything else on the people's social media that I can cover real quick. Oh man, this Patrice Color shit is crazy to me. Candace Owens a real one. No, I don't like some of the shit she do, but I can most definitely appreciate it when she do some real shit. And this Patrice Color shit is the really shit I have ever seen. Like, they're not doing it like that. Journalists are not pulling up like that anymore. I don't know why they went all soft. Okay, people ain't asking the questions they need to be asking out here. But since we're talking about some ghetto shit, I guess we can talk about. Do y'all want to talk about Sukiana? This is one person I do not like. She like West Indian, like, or something. Like, you ever, like, some people you just don't want to fucking claim. Like, cause this Sukiana is too fucking ghetto. Like, I hate it. I hate it for us. I hate it for what our progress is supposed to be. I hate it that this is the extent. You know what? Let's talk about Sukiana, because we got to talk about people in like, we are talking about the extent people are willing to go to for attention. Right? The extent people are willing to go. Yeah, let's get into it, because this isn't a great example of the extent of what people are willing to do. I mean, we just found out that Kim Kardashian's willing to exploit her pussy through a sex tape for years. For years. So don't tell me that people don't do shit for attention. Don't tell me that people won't fake some shit. Don't tell me people won't be fake lesbian and all the other shit for attention. All right, so we looking for Sukiana's ghetto ass. Was this another? Okay, I think I may have passed that. This is an original post of her dancing or something she was doing. Let me find it. Because we're talking about what people will do for attention. What will they do for attention? Like, what would you do for a Klondike bar? Like, what you just would do for attention? So I was thinking it was going to be somewhere up in here, because they weren't that far apart. And this is what you see people literally do. And this is why, like, I called out and will continue to talk about, like, Lizzo and some of the, like, shit she was doing. Because it feels like sometimes some people are just, like, doing shit because that's a part of part of their rollout. And I see Joe Budden talking about rollouts, and I know I talked about that months ago. Like, everything that niggas are doing, it seems to be a part of their rollouts. Like, some of y'all are not, creating like you should be creating, and original like you should be originating. Like, just to be completely honest. And I'm like, some of y'all, it's just like, and it makes you lose respect for them, because it's just like, I literally know. And people try to really do be out here acting like they don't see shit people are doing because they don't want to show love or any of that other shit, when they've been known to be out here copying people's shit and be okay with it. Like, it just is what it is. And that's why I really don't have, like, when it comes to, like, someone like Meg Thee Stallion, or people who keep getting caught with, like, cheating and plagiarizing and taking people's concepts and taking people's ideas, and then you want people to think of you as being great. And it's just sort of like, no, you have to create your own style, your own persona, your own swag. And real people really be knowing when you're not doing that, when you're not authentically, like, being yourself. So, and you're speaking on other people's thoughts, but, like, for attention. Like, yeah. Like, here's another example. Look at this little young dummy. I think she got a disability too, I'm not gonna lie. Okay, so if you don't know who she is Yaya Mayweather. She is the 22-year-old daughter of Floyd Mayweather. And you see the picture at the bottom where like she looks like she's either like drunk or high. Allegedly, that's a picture that she had. That's her mugshot from when she had stabbed her who did she stab, her baby daddy's girlfriend, or girl, his girlfriend, or his another one of his baby mothers. Anyway, long story short, she went to the house and there was another woman there and she ended up stabbing her, whatever, over this man that she's still with, that she just pled, I think she just pled guilty, and she got some slap on the wrist. But I'm talking about the extent people go to for attention, what they're willing to do, right? And I literally think that this girl has a disability. I think there's something not right. I think every time that I've heard her speak, and it's one of those things that, yeah, you do pick up on a little bit when people do speak. And this one right here ain't never sound like she had a brain. Ain't never. She, which y'all, I'm gonna keep it real. If your daddy can't read, sometimes fruit don't fall too far from the tree in terms of them things that we call a brain. Like, it just is what it is. And if your parents aren't aware of their shortcomings, to make sure that you are getting the right education to not come across as if though you got their same problems, then I don't know what to say. Like, I don't know what to say. And too much money has been made for people to still be, I don't know. Anyway, um, here we go. Celebrate her second. So I'm sorry. This is her mugshot down below. So she decided for her 22nd birthday that she was gonna take her mugshot and put it on her shirt, and the family got it on, and they are celebrating her birthday in her mugshot. Come on, y'all. Don't tell me shit about the youth. Don't tell me shit about working with the youth when we out here enabling, encouraging, and celebrating degeneracy and weirdo, I'm gonna say retarded ass behavior. That's what this is to me. So let me see what yeah, even her little son has, KJ had the matching crew, had the matching shirt on. Like, there's just so much behind this story. She got her baby daddy allegedly got herpes out here. So like, come on, y'all. Like, we want to talk around situations. They even out here trying to make it seem like, I think I seen somebody try to say, oh, everybody know somebody who got herpes. It's not a big deal. It's not even something that you should make a big deal out of it because so many people have it. No, I don't know so many people who have it. And I don't know people who are telling people that they have the herpes. Like, and I don't think you have to tell nobody. Like, it's your situation, right? But we're not gonna sit up here and make it seem like, oh, it's nothing. It's not like the common cold. It's not the common cold. Like, listen. All right, celebrated her 22nd birthday yesterday and decided to have her family and friends rock shirts with her mugshot on them. Even little KJ was matching with the crew. Like, that's crazy. Keisha Cole, happy B-Day, y'all. So she know she understand the stabbing, on woman and that type of behavior, right? And it'd be so funny. Look at these celebrities. Happy B-Day, y'all. And here goes somebody else. This weird. I don't know what this the ass shit laughing. I don't know. This weird. No ma'am. Like, no ma'am. It seems like regular people have more common sense than people who are supposed to be like celebrities or have a little bit of sense. No, and we do make the assumptions that celebrities have some sense and they really don't. She needs help. Like, literally. Like, this is how it comes across. I wouldn't take pride in that negativity. Laugh out loud. And what did I say to you guys? I'm literally talking about people who take pride off of getting attention. And no matter how the fuck they have to go about getting it, they take pride of it, even if it's negative. Wasn't that a very serious charge? 9,882 people feel that way. 14,073 people says she needs help. And we've always consistently felt like, since this girl has went viral for being associated with NBA YoungBoy, everyone has always felt like she needs help. Nobody's ever thought that this girl was just okay. Everybody's always felt like she's had a disability or something is not right with her. And yes, we do have to call it out. We're not trying to diagnose anybody. But like I said, in society, there are people who are aware of other people who have disabilities and they use them, period. So it's something that you can tell. That chick lost. She only 22? Question. Boo. Weird flex, but okay. No way. No way. No way. Just no fucking way. She's very slow. Shaking my head. God bless her. Okay. Okay, my co-host is giving it up today in the comments. My co-host is letting y'all know, like, we know who the people is. Laugh my head on screen. That's different. Whoa. Oh, that ghetto. Like, how you that ghetto and that rich at the same time, and then be trying to brag about money, and it's just like, and you don't even like feel envious or jealous of them having money because it's like all the money and all the shit in the world, and you still slow. Like literally, that's what it comes across. You still slow. You like it's not given. Like no. Imagine being born wealthy and privileged and still wanting to engage in hood clown behavior. That's literally what it comes across as. Like imagine your father being that rich over 10 times over and still wanting to be a hood rat. I mean, it's given. I want to be ghetto so bad. It is. Like literally, it is. So I don't know. That's what the people are saying. That's what the people think. And me and the people are very consistent about like how we be feeling, and me and the people clearly see the same damn things. And so a lot of times people be like, "Oh, don't nobody be thinking that you planting seeds, you putting shit out in the atmosphere, blah 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 blah." I ain't putting shit out. My people in these comments are telling you that we feel like this girl is slow, and she need help. Somebody help her with all that money. All right, Keisha Cole. Get it together, Keisha. We ain't Keisha. Get it together. You out here acting like Yaya. You ain't supposed to be acting like Yaya. I remember when you first came out, and I'm a Keisha Cole fan, and that ain't gonna change. I still love Keisha Cole, the music, right? Um, Music, of course, and she seems like a cool person. Like I'm not gonna say she doesn't, but Keisha, you first came on the scene talking about how that nigga used to lock you in the fucking yard and leave you in the house all day long, and you still out here acting slow and crazy over these niggas, like to this big grown age. Big grown age. I'll follow you. Listen, little Bow Wow. Imagine being crazy over little fucking Bow Wow. All right, so here goes another person who will do anything for attention. Her name is Sukiyana. If y'all don't know, she's the one who had she had a sex tape with her boyfriend, and she had it on OnlyFans, so you could pay to watch her do, I guess, sexual activity on her man. And she's another one who's always talking about, I'm doing whatever for the money. I gotta feed these kids, doing that whole welfare, like I come from struggle. I'm just trying to survive shit that bitches be doing when they be out here just like willing to do everything except go and work a normal 9 to 5 like regular people and be regular. Yeah. They try to make excuses as if though somebody in society should give them a pass for wanting to act like this. Instead of doing what most people do. If the music is not working or you're not getting the money you want from it because you signing dumbass contracts because again you don't value things of like being educated and learning about different things like that, then that's your own damn fault. But we ain't gotta respect this, and I'm not claiming this as blackness. So when I sit here and talk my shit, that's because I'm saying this is not the black I know. Not the black I know. This is not the black I know for majority of people. This ain't it. This behavior ain't it. I listen to this shit, y'all.
20, 30,000 for no teeth if I can't eat crab legs. Where's my tooth? Like, where is my tooth? Why would I? Crab legs? How I can't eat crab crawl? And at this point, I feel like this hating. Because where's my tooth? What y'all stolen? Y'all stealing teeth now? I got shows to do. Who stole my tooth? I'm in Oakland. What's happened with my teeth? At this point, I don't want to pay no 20, 30,000 for no teeth if I can't eat crab legs. Where's my tooth? Like, where is my tooth? Why would I? Crab legs? How I can't eat crab crawl? And at this point, I feel like this hating. Because where's my tooth? What y'all stolen? Y'all stealing teeth now?
I don't even know how this even makes sense. This is the shade room again. Way roommates. Who stole Sukiyana's tooth? Sis done lost her tooth and her wig in the club last night. Like this is like crazy. If you knew your fucking teeth was fake, don't you think you should break up the fucking crab legs and not risk your tooth falling out? Like, did someone actually take the tooth? Okay, but this is her at her show. Child, this is what she wrote. Child, it was 95 degrees in there and I had to take my wig off, but the show still went on. So there are some people who just literally are using this ghetto ass shit to, get attention so they can be viral and be talked about. Like, all of this is just for attention. Like, none of this shit is real. Like, there's just no fucking way. Even the tooth thing. Like, I refuse to even fucking believe that shit. Like, that's just how ridiculous it is. Because you got to get to the point of, like, why are you willing to tell people all of this information if it isn't for what you think you could get in terms of attention? And nobody asks you that. Like, there's times when I was talking about, like, Clubhouse, I would be in rooms. I remember this girl. I haven't seen her on here for months. But I remember, I don't know why she felt some sort of way, because I think I was really trying to empower her not to be on, victimhood shit. So I would be in this group, and it was a group for like neurodivergent people, and people would get together and talk. And one of the things that like I said, I'll be in spaces, and I don't necessarily think that I'm neurodivergent or any of those things, but I just be wanting to see. I be wanting to see. I just be wanting to see what people are talking about. I just be wanting to see what people say, what things are like. And so I go into this room, and it's very like, alhamdulillah, like it's very peaceful. These women are very agreeable people. They're talking very soft tones. They're not the rowdy type of people, They're not, you're not like what people would describe as alpha personalities. I guess people would say, I hate to like, empathic. Like, that's the type of vibe I got. Very just like cool, calm sisters. And I think sometimes when you can talk in a way, like, sometimes I think people think when you talk, because sometimes I do it, but I'm doing it because I'm literally making sure that I'm thinking before I speak. So I think a lot of times when I slow it down, it could come across as though somebody is you could think that, but I could just be doing it to make sure that I'm really really sure about what I say. So sometimes I know that when I talk, I can talk really, really fast, and as y'all can see on these videos, and I can do that in person, but also I can also talk like really slow, where I'm like, well, I'm trying to understand. And that's because, like I said, I'm thinking before, things come out of my mouth. I know that's really unusual. That's not something a lot of people do, think before before they speak. But I think sometimes, if you talk like that you could be considered, or people will think that you're slow. But that being said, so I'm in this room and they talking slow. And I'm not one of those people who just automatically assume that because someone is talking kind of slower that they mean that they're slow, right? So I'm in this room and I'm hearing these people talking about how they're neurodiverse and how they are not accepted, and society makes them feel a certain type of way and blah 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 blah. And the more and more I sat, and I'm like, well, these seem like some regular ass people. They're not extreme, like on the other end of, like, because I'm on the dark side. They're not extreme. I'm in conservative rooms. I don't hear any extreme thoughts or opinions being said in here, right? I don't see, like, people aren't exhibiting like what I really think is the crazy behavior, the abnormal, like if you're going to call some behavior, they're not exhibiting any of this. They just talking slow and patient with each other and just having, real genuine moments, right? So I'm like, why is these people think that there's something wrong with them, right? And that's not to say like everything that's going on with somebody, but I just think socially, because you don't know everything that's going on with somebody, socially, why are you letting people put you in a box that makes you think that you are somehow different when you're in a room of a group of people? And I say that to say, because I remember one of the girls from the group, we would be in rooms that were outside of the neurodivergent or neurodiverse community. And she would get off the mic and she would start speaking the way she speaks. And one of the first things she starts to tell you is about her, about her neurodivergent. I think she said she, her, they, that, all of that. I think she may have mentioned her sexual orientation before she would start talking about like what we were actually talking about in the room. And I'm like, where the fuck did they do this at? Like, why is this? Why? None of that shit that she just said before speaking was required. Not even to mention, when you start speaking, people are going to pick up on whether or not, like I pick up on if she, may have had some social, the people will come to that conclusion on their own. But I just don't understand why somebody has to introduce themselves with all of that. Why? Who made you feel as if though that like that all of that is needed for you to be a part of society? That you have to come with bearing your bones about your mental, your sexual orientation to have conversations, because somehow, some way, that's the way you feel like you have to be. You have to get into the conversation. That's what it comes across as. like you want special treatment or something like that. Because why else would you want to be putting out like certain information? Like I just never understood that, and I think that's just weird because she would start talking and like people were being rude. I'm not gonna lie, people were being rude. People were being rude, and people were like making little comments, but it was more or less because you told them, right? Like more or less because you told them what to go for when you annoyed them, so they knew what to say, right? So I just don't think you have to offer up so much information. I think like my mom always say, your mouth is your biggest enemy, but I don't think you have to introduce yourself like that about talking about your disabilities and all this other stuff. Like because the same way I can sit in this room and hear these women talk, I never thought at any point in time that they were the problem in society, and it just seems really strange that even if people are on some type of spectrum, for being different, thinking different, coming to conclusions in a different type of way. Because essentially, what I read is about. Essentially, what I read is the way I explained it to somebody, somebody who could be on the spectrum or neurodiverse. How can I? I'm trying to think of the best way I can explain it. Like, let's say you have an equation, and there's mathematically there's an equation, and there is a sequence of there's a sequence on how you can get to the answer, but there's not just one sequence on how you can get to that answer. You could do it different ways and still come to that same answer to answer that question. But that being said, there's a majority of a population that will use one way on a mass scale. Massively, people tend to do it a certain way. You'll be that other person, and I'm sorry, I'm not probably the best person to explain. You'll be that other person that will do it a different way, even though you do it a different way and still end up with the same conclusion. So what ends up happening in society, what I feel like is if though, because people feel like we all do it this way, so we are the normal, you do it that way, something wrong with you. You not thinking the right way. So sometimes what ends up happening is that people end up what's happening is that the masses tend to think that they are the correct way of going about things, because everybody else do it the same way. So essentially relying on the fact that groupthink or commonly accepted beliefs make somebody more right. I don't know if that makes sense, but what I'm trying to say, a lot of times dummies will get together and think because we're all dummies and we do the same thing, that people get together and think because we're all doing the same thing that we're actually right. And it's not until they go see how somebody else is doing it and they're like, oh, you're different. Oh, you're not, you don't do, you're different. What's wrong? Oh, this is how you're supposed to, this is how you're supposed to think. Most people think like this. They'll rely on the fact that everybody that they know think this same way. In all actuality, no, there's other different ways of thinking about things, and you can still get to the same answers. And I hope that makes sense. And if it doesn't, please let me know. But I remember sitting in these rooms like, there ain't nothing wrong with y'all. What's wrong is these niggas in these other rooms. That's what I remember. I remember thinking, man, this is like 2 years ago. I remember like, no, there ain't nothing wrong with y'all in here. Y'all are good. Y'all are even. Y'all are balanced. Y'all not extreme. Yeah, y'all good here. The other shit that I was listening to, no, that ain't good. That ain't good. And that's where the problem is. But like, it feels like in society in general, up is down. And when people feel like they are, ignorant in numbers in the masses, they equate that with being right no matter what. So it just is what it is. But yeah, this is what people do for to go viral in 2022. It's not organic. It's not, we heard it. Have anybody mentioned the music? No, we still talking about her tooth and her ghetto ass shit. And for her, I got kids. I don't give a fuck how this make me look. Get it, girl. All that ghetto shit. I'm getting money though. Y'all be blessed. Y'all be bougie as F. Y'all be black as F. And y'all be black, y'all. Kisses. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'm out.